And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I am here to bestow another tier list upon you. So we started with the point guard tier list yesterday. If you haven't checked that out already, go check that out. I just dropped it last night. It'll be linked at the end of this video if you're interested in it. Whatever. If you don't want to, I really don't care. I mean, it'd be helpful, so like you should, but you know, whatever. I can't tell you what to do. So let's get the rules or parameters out of the way. Number one. S tier, unquestionable best cards in the game. I will say about the shooting guard tier list, the shooting guard position in general is so flooded with like incredibly solid options that a lot of this is going to be subjective from person to person. I've tried to make it as unbiased as possible, but sometimes it's kind of difficult. But I will try my best to explain why a card is in, for instance, like S tier, and then a card that maybe you might like a little bit more is down in A tier. Like, I will do my best to try to explain my rationale between these things. A tier, just a shade under S tier. Maybe there's a couple reasons that I will get into as to why they didn't make it to S tier and why they're in A tier instead. Maybe a couple concerns, maybe just a reason that they're not quite there. B tier, most of the community are going to be using cards in this B tier range. Good mixture of like once elite cards that are slightly outdated, or just there's better versions of them, or maybe there's budget cards in here. This is going to be a very varied category as well, but I will try to explain why each card is in there. C tier, very middle of the road guys. Like, certain cards that you're going to see in C tier you may use, certain cards like are going to be used by a lot of people in the community, and for certain playstyles they might even be better than some of the B tier guys. But, you know, like I said, I'll do my best to kind of explain why they're there. D tier, kind of outdated cards, or cards that, for the most part, aren't going to be as good as the C tier guys. Maybe, like, they came out a while ago. Maybe they're small. Maybe they have a bad jump shot. Their badge count isn't up. I'll explain it. F tier cards, I mean, F tier, for the most part, is going to be usable cards in some fashion. But for the most part of the community, or majority of the community, it's definitely a card that you can upgrade from by going with the D tier or higher card. Trash tier, guys that I just don't think there's any reason to use them at this point in the year, but I will still talk about them a little bit and kind of go into maybe they, you know, get better if you give them badges or something. I don't know, I'll go into it. A couple more parameters. Shooting guard primary only, so guys who play small forward but are played as two guards, similar to, or not similar to, but examples of this would be like Terry Dissinger, LeBron James cards, stuff like that. They'll be over on the small forward tier list that I'm doing tomorrow, so just to clarify that. I also try to be as unbiased as possible. I'm ranking cards between next and current gen, not just next, not just current gen. I could do a next gen tier list and a, you know, current gen tier list, but I'm just putting out too many tier lists at that point. It just kind of feels like a cheap way to get views, if that makes sense. So without further ado, let's get underway. I got some European mineral water with like these weird ice cubes in it, so if you see them, just know what it is. Crispy, also super salty. I don't really know what's up with that, but it keeps me hydrated. One more, there was another thing. Just don't remember. Oh yes, I am ranking cards based on how they come standard as opposed to if they are badged out. So that will affect ratings, and I will kind of talk about that. So let's get started. Adrian Dantley. Trash. I don't think anyone's really going to argue with me on that. I've done these tier lists a bunch of times, and Adrian Dantley's been trash in at least the last 3 of them, and no one's argued it. So I hold you to that. Poku. Now, I don't really like Poku very much, to be honest. I personally don't like him, but he is a 7'2" guard. I like Scottie Pippen's release, which is what he has on Very Quick. For whatever reason, I just don't like it with Poku, maybe because he's so tall. I don't know. I would still put him in B tier, though. He still has enough intangibles to make it to probably the middle of B tier, I would say. Look, I'll be honest, when it comes to Poku specifically, there's going to be guys in C tier that I would run over Poku, and that I do run over Poku. Can't think of any specific examples right now, but at the same time, like, that's kind of how I feel. But like I said, I try not to be biased in these rankings, you know what I mean? Allen Houston. This hurts, but D tier. He plays like no defense whatsoever. Smooth shot though. But yeah, I mean, D tier is appropriate for him. He is an all offense, kind of no defense kind of card. And yeah, I mean, that makes sense for him, in my mind anyway. Andre Iguodala. This one might be like, contestable, but I actually like this Andre Iguodala card a lot. I would put him in C tier. Is he going to be towards the top of C tier? I mean, probably not. He'll probably end up being towards the bottom, but I still do think he deserves to be here. Excellent 3-and-D card. He dunks really hard. Great badge count. There's really nothing wrong with this card. It's just his jump shot isn't really good. If he had a different jump shot, I think he'd even be like a B tier card. I mean, that's kind of the point we're at in this year, or like in 2K21's life cycle, where most cards are going to be like stats and badges wise all the same. It just depends on like player build and jump shot and stuff like that. So it gets harder to do these tier lists, but I do my best. I'm fragile. Invincible Tracy McGrady. I'm not fragile. I'm just kidding. Yeah, come on, S tier, bro. Invincible T-Mac is still a beast. He's literally one of the best 2 guards in this game. I don't even care. I've talked enough about Tracy McGrady where I don't really need to go into too much detail here. You guys kind of know what's up. 6'7", Trey Burke base, one of the best releases in the game on both next and current gen. I will say this though, if you are on current gen, the out of position Tracy McGrady we got, was that last week, 2 weeks ago, is actually better than this one for current gen. He's a primary point guard just because he doesn't have that steady shooter badge. So, and he's like 100K cheaper. So, something to think about. Billy Owens. I like this card. I do. He just has terrible hot zones, and as a shooting guard, I would probably put him in F tier. Like, Allen Houston is better than him. I actually put him kind of in the same tier, I guess. Bojan. Bojan's not bad. I can't remember his jump shot base. So let me look up his jump shot base because I've used this card, and he's really not terrible at all. Like, he's a very solid card. I don't think there's really anything wrong with him. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, 6'6", 6'9" wingspan, really solid. He's got that jump shot 6, which is only Bojan's, and it's actually a really nice release. I would actually use Bojan over Allen Houston and Billy Owens. I'm almost considering throwing him into C tier. I will throw him into C tier. He's very good. He doesn't really lack anything, to be honest. Like, pretty elite at everything except for interior defense. That's about his main gripe. And if you're over on current gen, he's not going to have showtime and stuff like that. But he's a relatively good defender. He does need some defensive badges, though. But I still think he's better than Allen Houston and Billy Owens. Clyde Drexler. B tier. I'm not even kidding. This card is incredible. One of the best budget cards in the game still. Yeah, I don't think it's even close. He's been out for about 3 weeks. I literally use him in my domination lineups over, like, my invincible cards. I play better with him sometimes than I do with Invincible T-Mac. That just goes to show how everything is kind of subjective. Like, Clyde Drexler is really good. 6'7", he can do pretty much everything you ask him to do. Whatever role you need Clyde Drexler to play, he can play it, and he plays it well. Bradley Beal. I would throw him in C. The reason I'm putting him in C is I think at this point in the list, he probably deserves to be B tier, but by the end of it, just kind of thinking about what cards are coming up at some point, I think by the end of it, he will end up being in C, possibly towards the top. He is 6'5" instead of 6'3" for some reason. I don't know what that's all about with 2K, but whatever. Brandon Roy. Yeah, Brandon Roy's still B tier. I actually think Clyde Drexler is better than him, personally. But that's whatever. Brandon Roy is a 6'6" T-Mac clone. So everything I said about T-Mac goes double for Brandon Roy. Like, he's that good. Super well-rounded. Nothing wrong with the card at all. Bruce Bowen. I like Bruce Bowen, but he's definitely a bit outdated, so I would throw him in D tier. I like the card. Great 3-and-D option. He's a 3-and-D cone through and through, and a good one at that, but time has just kind of passed him by. There's just so many good cards now. It's just tough. Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown's D tier as well. I don't mind this card at all. Like, I'd be willing to say by the end of this, there's probably some guys in C tier that I might even use Bruce Brown over. I still think if I'm talking all play styles, all player base, both gens, like, D tier makes sense for him. Wally Szczerbiak. Yeah, he's not very good, but I think he, God, I don't know. Yeah, no, I can't disrespect Wally like that. Put him in D. He's a 3-and-D cone with a kind of a slow jump shot, but he's still better than a lot of cards on this list. Bryn Forbes. F. he's too small. He plays the point guard like decently. If he was a point guard primary, he'd probably end up being in like D tier on the point guard tier list, I'd guess, but F for shooting guard for sure. Buddy Hield. He's still C tier, but I don't know how long he's going to be in C tier, if that makes sense. Like, I'll have to reshuffle the list towards the end because he might not be here. Calbert Cheney, best card in D tier for sure. I don't know if that's like objectively true, but I like the card, so whatever. Karis LeVert. Karis LeVert is for sure C tier. In my opinion, he's the best card in C tier. I like this card a lot. I don't think he's quite good enough for B tier anymore, but that's just me. Cassius Stanley. He's not terrible. He's better than Adrian Dantley for sure. For sure. Chris Morris. I would throw him in D tier. He's better than Billy Owens. Allen Houston is better than these guys. I don't even care. Chris Morris is too. Throw him right there. Brandon Ingram. High B tier. Like, he's the best card in B tier for sure right now. Subject to move up to A, just kind of depends how the list shakes out. Keldon Johnson. C. Yeah, I would say C tier. Keldon Johnson's actually really good. He might even move up to B. I'll have to think on that because I like the card a lot. Chris Mullin. It hurts. It hurts me to do this, but C tier. Knowing what cards I plan on, like, just thinking in my head, because I don't like run through this before I do these tier lists. I just kind of go and do them. But I still know in the back of my head, like, okay, I know like these cards are probably A tier, B tier, etc. Chris Mullin is just quite not good enough to make the cut, but he might move up because I like this card that much. Base 22, you guys know how I feel about that. Now, if I had this split by gen, like if this was a current gen exclusive tier list, I'd probably have him in B tier. And he's good on next gen. Base 22 is just really good on current. CJ McCollum, D. Yeah, I mean, he's just a little small. Not very good. Throw him right here by like Allen Houston. Cliff Hagan, right by CJ McCollum. I know my Cliff Hagan stands out there. I don't know how old you would be. Like, I don't know, 79, 80. You're probably mad about this and your tattered Cliff Hagan jersey. Did they even make jerseys back then? That is an interesting question. I want a Cliff Hagan throwback jersey. Cliff Robinson. I like this card, but I still think C tier is appropriate for him at this stage. Like, I do. I'd put him like right here, around Andre Iguodala. Corey Maggette. Yeah, nah, C tier. Base 22, he's really, really good. I think Chris Mullin is definitely better, so I'll throw him towards the end. But, yeah, I think he's good. Darius Miles. B tier. Darius Miles is so good. I've been using him so much in Domination. I've been playing some Triple Threat online with him, too. I just love this card. And for 7K, I just don't know, like, this combo of Darius Miles and Clyde Drexler, like, I've been running this this combo of backcourt and wings, and it's been Jalen Rose point guard, Darius Miles shooting guard, Clyde Drexler small forward that I just love. Like, I just love this squad, dude. It's so tight. David Thompson, bottom of C tier. Good free card, though. Like, altogether pretty solid. He's probably going to end up in D tier, I would guess, but for right now, he deserves to be in C. All right, another divisive one, I feel. DeAndre Hunter, B tier. I really do think DeAndre Hunter is better than every single card in C tier. You might not feel the same, but I really, really do. He's basically like a budget Kawhi. I like his jump shot a lot on both gens as well. So, Danny Green. I'll be honest, I'm highly considering putting Danny Green in B tier, but I think higher in C tier makes sense for him. He's just really good. Michael Cooper. Ooh, that's tough. I would throw Michael Cooper in D tier. He's a 3-and-D guy. There's just so many better options. Like, I think that as far as 3-and-D cards, like what Michael Cooper does, I think Danny Green, Keldon Johnson, both of those guys are way better. So I'm going to put him in D tier for that reason. Mitch Richmond. Okay, this one is definitely not going to agree with a lot of people, but I would put Mitch Richmond. I almost said Mitch Mitchman. That's actually a pretty sick name. In B tier. And he, like I said, I've said this a million times, okay, and I always have to keep reiterating this because for whatever reason, you guys, not you guys, I'm sorry, it's not everyone as a whole, but people always like just completely overlook this or just decide not to take this into account when getting mad in the comments. They're ranked within the tier, okay? Yes, in C tier, Chris Mullin and David Thompson are in the same tier, but they are not ranked the same. Chris Mullin is still ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 cards ahead of David Thompson. Sorry. Del Curry D. I don't know. If you like Del Curry, you could argue he's C tier. I'm going to drop David Thompson. I like David Thompson, but I can't say he's that much better than Del Curry. So I'll do that. Kevin Porter Jr. Decent card. C tier, though. That's how I feel about it. He's good at point guard position, though. DeMar DeRozan. He's still so good on current that I would throw him in B tier, even though he is a bit outdated. That's just how good the card is. His Opal would be right here, too. They're basically the same card. Yeah, I would throw him in B tier. I still like on current gen, and he's still really good on next gen, too, even if his badge count is a little bit lower than some of these guys. But most of the ones you find on the market are badged out anyway. I know that goes against kind of my whole thing, but it's important to make that distinction sometimes. He's still a T-Mac clone. Like, he's still really good. Yi. I'm sorry, Yi. C tier. It hurts. It really does. It hurts to do this to him, but C tier is where he belongs, I believe, personally. On current gen, he has that Jonathan Isaac release, so he bricks a bunch of whites like he does, because the more arc you have on a jump shot in 2K21 current, the more likely you are to miss whites. That's kind of how I figured it anyway. And because of that, that's what keeps him out of B tier. He's still a 7-foot tall shooting guard, but I don't really value out of position guys as high as some other people do in regards to the tier list space. It's just me. JR, C. I would throw Yi over here though. But JR and Kevin Porter Jr. are almost identical. By the way, the Dark Matter Kevin Porter Jr. is not in this list, but he would be right here as well. They're all 3 basically the same card. Just depends which player you like more, I guess. Denny Avdija. I don't like him because of his jump shot, so I would put him like top of D tier. But if you wanted to argue he's C, I totally understand. It's just that's a personal preference thing. And I think he has kind of a bad jump shot, and that's the only thing that keeps him out of C. Dennis Scott, his card's actually pretty decent, dude. I don't think it's necessary to like do the exchange for him, but he's not very bad at all. He's pretty fun to use. He's still like a pure 3-and-D guy. I think he deserves to be there. He's better than Wally Zerbiak for sure. Juan Carlos Navarro. He's got base 98 on quick, which is pretty decent jump shot. I can't say he's really that much better than Bryn Ford, or that much. Yeah, he's not that much better than Bryn Ford and Cassius Stanley. F. This card was really good when he came out, though. Like, this card was sick when he came out. One of the most annoying cards I've played all year. Derek White, yep. Where's my small ballers at? Right here. All 4 of them. Desmond Mason. This card's actually pretty decent. I actually like this card a lot. I'm considering, I think he's the best card in D tier. He might even move up to C tier because this card's actually really good. Devin Booker. B tier. Yeah, I would say B tier for Devin Booker. I'm not a huge Devin Booker fan, but he's a very solid card. I can't say he's that much different than Brandon Roy, if we're being honest. They're pretty similar. Still not as good as Clyde Drexler, though. Don't even try it. Van Arsdale. That's a tough one. With the way the tiers are right now, I still think Van Arsdale is B tier for now. But him, Mitch Richmond, and DeMar DeRozan are definitely cards that I could drop at any point to C tier. And they might, so we'll find out. Dylan Brooks. They did this dude so dirty with his tendencies and a lot of his stats that he's trashed here, but it's not his fault. The card itself is not that bad. When you're looking at like his jump shot and his badge count and stuff, but they did him so dirty on the other aspects when it comes to his tendencies and animations that I have no choice but to put him here. It hurts, man. Dominique Wilkins. No joke. I think he legitimately might be one of the best cards in B tier. This card is basically an invincible card. I'm almost considering putting him in A tier, but I'm not going to. Dominique is a beast. You can pick him up for 20k. Worth every penny. Sarunas. He's not... Yeah, no, I think D tier. He's like a cheap version of Harden, basically. Kevin Huerter. He's a reward card. They did him kind of dirty, but I still think he deserves to be around where Cliff Hagan is. His badge count isn't good, though. That I will say that. Stanley Johnson. Oh, C tier, no question. Stanley Johnson. Everything I said about DeAndre Hunter kind of goes for Stanley Johnson. He's just got kind of a slow jump shot. That's it. But he is a defensive beast. I like this card a lot. Michael Redd, probably D tier as well. He's just outdated. If we got a new Michael Redd card, like he might be really good. I don't know. Donovan Mitchell. He's a wee little guy, but he's solid. C tier. Like J.R. Smith, Kevin Porter area. He's very well-rounded. I actually put him by Bradley Beal. That would make a lot of sense. Bradley Beal's better than Kevin Porter, by the way. Yeah, this looks right. Sidney Moncrief. He's a top D tier guy. I'd put him like right here. Some of the best steal animations in the game, but that's about all he's really bringing you at an elite level. Everything else he's pretty middling in. So yeah, D. Vinsanity. A tier. Yeah, I don't think he's quite S tier because T-Max basically does everything Vince Carter does, just a smidge better with a better jump shot. He's a little bit taller. But this Vince Carter card can also play point guard, and he's free. And altogether, just a really good card. A tier makes sense for him, I think. I like him. Who's next? Steven Jackson. Yeah, he can't Curry. I don't care. I'd put him by Andre Iguodala in C tier. That's just... Yeah, I would do that for sure. He's a good card, dude. Drazen Petrovic. D probably. Yeah, he's not very good. What a terrible unlimited reward. Duncan Robinson. Oh, Duncan Robinson's a beast, dude. I'm tempted to throw him in B tier, to be completely honest with you guys. Nah, I think I'm going to end up putting Tyler Hero in C tier, so I'll keep him there. But Duncan's actually really good. KZ Okpala. I actually like this card. Like, no joke, I'd put him in C tier. I don't care about the lack of shooting badges or anything. This card's really, really good. Dwayne Wade. I mean, if Van Arsdale's here, Dwayne Wade deserves to be here as well. He's really good. He's an invincible Dwayne Wade. Just depends how you feel about base 98. Like, I undervalue base 98. I know that. Gladiator Kobe. C tier. He's okay. He's just got a lower badge count, and obviously there's more Kobe's to come. So you can kind of get a general idea of how the Kobe's are being ranked by that one. Eddie Johnson. I like this card a lot. I actually would put him by Steven Jackson. Like, I actually think this card's really good. Another card I might be over hyping a bit, but I think these guys all deserve to be here. Eddie Jones, this one breaks my heart as well, but I will throw you into C tier. I think that Eddie Jones and Kobe are pretty similar, so I'd put them like right next to each other. He's just outdated. We need a new Eddie Jones card ASAP. But with the looks of the Tuesday content, it looks like we're going to get a bunch of these guys and Dark Matter versions of them over the next like couple weeks, which I'm stoked about. Edward Sumner. He is the best card in trash tier. That's not really saying anything. Well, no, Dylan Brooks is, actually. This is how I'd rank trash tier. Yeah, he's one of the Season Rewind reward cards. They gave him like 20 badges. Like, he can't shoot. Those cards are so stupid, dude. I hate them. Allen Iverson. This is a shooting guard tier list. If it was a point guard tier list, AI would probably be in C tier. I'm going to put him at the top of D tier, though. Eric Gordon. All right, if you really want to sit here and tell me you like Eric Gordon, that's fine. I'm putting him in trash tier because I hate the card. I mean, you could argue F tier, maybe D tier, maybe, but I'm putting him in trash tier because I despise this card. I think I'm just so mad because Eric Gordon was really tight at the beginning of the year, his Ruby. But now that everyone can do everything, you really see how some of these cards just kind of suck. Evan Fournier, he has a really low badge count. He's not great. I put him in F. I would legitimately use all the D tier guys over him. Yes, even Wally Zerbiak and Billy Owens. Gail Goodrich. Where's he? Yeah, right by AI somewhere. Like Del Curry. He is really nice, but he's 6'1". So, Stacey Augmon. I actually think this card's really good. Like C tier. I know people always make fun of me because I say like really good and then throw a card in like C tier or D tier. But like, make your own tier list then. Shut up. Gary Trent. Gary Trent's badge count's pretty bad. And maybe F, maybe. Yeah, I don't think he's as good as even the bottom guys in D tier. Isaiah Ryder? No, Ryder's still good. Ryder's still decent. I would throw him ahead of like some of these guys. Nah, Calvert Cheney's tight. I'd throw him like somewhere towards the middle or bottom of D tier. Jamal Crawford. Allen Iverson syndrome. Like, I love his jump shot, and he's decent, but I think a lot of the guys in C tier are better than him, so I'd throw him over here. I think Desmond Mason is still legitimately the best card in D tier, though. I will stand firmly on that. Like, I'm going to throw my little glass cannon guys right here. Yeah. Okay. Like this. Tim Hardaway Jr. Where is... Yep. Basically, he is Kevin Porter or J.R. Smith. They're all basically the same. So... Sean Elliott. Controversial. A tier. This dude is incredible. Like, this card is stupid how good he is. I'm actually shocked that this card is this good. Like, it's wild to me. I knew he was going to be too. I will say on current gen, he does have steady shooter, which sucks. But this card is... Oh my god, he's so good. Remember how good the diamond was? This is a Dark Matter version that came out with 3 weeks remaining in the game's lifespan. I was going to say do the math. It doesn't make any sense. Think about it. James Harden. Yeah, James Harden's B tier. Like, he's still good. By the way, I will say Invincible Dwayne Wade is better than Mitch Richmond. I will change that. But yeah, he's James Harden. I mean, yeah, B tier. Makes sense. Dark Matter MJ. He's still low C tier. Like, MJ is still solid. I don't think he's quite B tier anymore. I would put him, like, right over here by, like, Donovan Mitchell. Nah, I'd put him by, like, Steven Jackson, somewhere around here. Yeah, that's about right. Josh Jackson, C tier, by Stanley Johnson. I prefer Stanley Johnson, but, I mean, that's a personal thing. I don't know. It really doesn't matter. Do I have to defend Josh Jackson? Steve Smith, he's worse than like Iguodala, Josh Jackson, and Stanley Johnson, so I'd throw him in D tier, like right here. He's a good 3 and D card though. Like, I'll put him like right over here. Marcus Smart, I like this card, but like D. He's just small. That's it. Like, point guard tier list, he's probably C tier. Shooting guard, he's like D. USA James Harden. USA James Harden is basically the invincible one, so I'd put them like right next to each other. Reward Vinsanity. Okay. I'm going to leave him because I'm not entirely sure where to put him. He's good, though. Like, he's still solid. He definitely wasn't worth the grind, I will say that, because I, like, literally never used him in, like, my main team. He was on my main lineup for, I think, legitimately 2 days. I mean, he's got 47 Hoff badges, basically 90 above in everything. I would still throw him in B tier. A blight lower B tier, I would say. The card's grown on me a bit too, so it's kind of one of those things. I don't know. I mean, if you want to say C tier, I'll give you that, but I just think he's a shade better than that. Jason Richardson, though, he is an interesting card because I like this card more than the average person. Like, base 31 is the Moses Malone, Eddie Johnson, Eddie Jones jumper. You know what? I'm pulling the trigger on this. I don't even care, dude. B tier. Jason Richardson's good. I'll throw him lower on B tier because I think I am overhyping him a little bit, but yeah, he's good, dude. I don't think he really needs too many badge upgrades either. He does have Hall of Fame steady, though, so it limits his value on current gen, but whatever. Jaylen Brown, once again, kind of a controversial one, but I think this card's really nice. He just came out today, but I liked, you guys remember watching my tier list, like, I really liked the Galaxy Opal Jaylen Brown as well. He did sell a bunch of whites, which was kind of annoying, but at the same time, like, this card's basically maxed out everything. I think he deserves B tier at this point. Like, I don't think there's really much you can say about it. Well, who's next? Jay Scrub. Sick name. D. He's got base 31, 30 badges, not the greatest badge count in the world. Still overall kind of decent though. I really like base 31. 6'5" too. I would say D makes sense. D is appropriate. Jerry Sloan. I like this card so much, but time has passed him by. I'd put him in D. This hurts. Allen Iverson. These two cards are basically the same. Radioactive T-Mac. Yeah, it's T-Mac. Still B tier. Don't care. Very low B tier, but B tier nonetheless. Look, don't get mad at me. I'm a T-Mac stan. You guys knew this already before you clicked on the video. Ray Allen. This Ray Allen, I think, is B tier. I would put him somewhere around Brandon Roy and Devin Booker. Like, he's really good. The only issue is he has Hall of Fame steady, which is super annoying on current gen. On next gen, like as far as a next gen card, he's probably A tier. Current gen card, like exclusively, he's probably farther down B tier. But I put him right here. Good, even middle ground. I actually... These four right here, like, you could tell me either... Honestly, pretty much all the B tier guys you could argue should be higher. I don't know. Jimmy Butler. A tier. One of the best 3-and-D cones in the game. Now, I will say this, because I had a lot of people mad about Paul George being the top of B tier. Now you're seeing Jimmy Butler, and you're like, what is going on here? The simple fact is, if Paul George was primary shooting guard, he would have been an A tier. Straight up. Right next to Jimmy Butler, no question. Possibly even S tier. It's just, as a point guard, I don't think he deserved A tier with the point guards that were up there. But I concede for certain people, definitely. Jimmy is one of the best 3-and-D cones in this game. He deserves to be an A tier. Vince Carter's a little bit more complete than him, so I would put him ahead. I don't know. Sean Elliott might actually be the best card in A tier. Yeah, this is how I would rank it. JJ Redick. This hurts my soul, but I'm going to put him in D tier. Joe Caldwell with shooting badges, D tier without F. Zach LaVine. Low end B tier. I mean, if I have all the T-Mac clones over here, like, he kind of deserves to be in the mix right here. I would say that's appropriate for him. I think he's better than Harden. Don't shoot the messenger, even though I made the message. Joe Dumars, trash. Jordan Clarkson. He's still actually not that bad. I would put him in, like, C tier area. Yeah, like by Donovan Mitchell. Decent. Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's pretty good, but I'd still probably put him in D tier. I don't think he's quite... C. You know what? No, he's not that much different than Buddy Hield. C tier. Josh Hart. This card kind of sucks, but it's not his fault, so I put him in F. Josh Richardson. This card's decent, actually. I'd put him C tier. He's, like, pretty good. Shockingly, I didn't think he was going to be that good. Josh Smith. I still think Josh Smith is B tier. Like, his new card that came out today is so stupidly overpowered. He's so good. But this card's still good enough, I think, to be B tier. Like, I think he's better than Yee. I think he's better than Cliff. Guys like that, so. Klay Thompson. I'd put him in B tier. He would be higher if he didn't have the center glitch. Like, the center glitch keeps him out of A tier. But I think, like, on next gen purely, he's probably, like, A. But because of that center glitch, I'm going to put him down in B because it is super annoying. That does actually harm the value of the card, people. This Klay Thompson, same thing. I'll put him in, like, the exact same spot. They're basically the same. Kobe Bryant. He's, like, tough to rank. I think he's still S tier. Like, he's still better than these guys in A, I think. Because he's more complete than Jimmy. He's overall a better card than Vince. Sean Elliott, you can make the case he's not better than Sean Elliott, but that's a personal preference thing. But Kobe is 100% complete. He really does everything. And Kobe Bryant base is really good this year. So for that reason, I'm going to keep him in S for now, but he may actually drop down. Oh, S tier, no question. Andre Karolinko. I know a lot of people were upset with my takes on Hedo Turkoglu as well being in B tier. But the valid concerns that I raised for Hedo Turkoglu are not here with Andre Karolinko, other than base 98 as a jump shot in general. But Andre Karolinko, he moves really well. He's huge. He plays ridiculously good defense. Triggers great defensive animations, especially in the block department. He does a lot of tip blocks, which are super important. He doesn't just smack them out of bounds. He, like, tips them up and gets his own board and stuff. All pretty huge. You notice, like, a lot of comp dudes still run Andre Karolinko for a reason. If they don't run Giannis, they run Andre Karolinko. So good. This Kobe Bryant. It's tough. It's basically the same. Yeah, I'd put him in A. Basically the same as the enshrined Kobe. Like I'd throw him in A tier. I do generally think, not generally, I genuinely think he's better than Brandon Ingram, Dominique. Dominique, you could argue he's not. Same with Darius. I guess it's like so much personal preference. Like I do my best on these lists, bro. Landry, all right, this Landry Shamet C tier. This card's actually nice. Larry Hughes, I mean D. Yeah. Lonnie Walker. He's kind of small, but he's got a good jump shot. I'll put him like by Buddy Hield. He's like pretty similar to Buddy Hield, C tier. Lou Dort. It's unfortunate. If you have shooting badges on Lou Dort, he's probably like D, but I'd put him in F. Just because he's 6'3". He has a wide player build though. I do like that. Is he really like trash though? Yeah, I would say so. I would use Cassius Stanley over him. Bryn Forbes is just really badged out, so it keeps him out of the trash tier. But trust me, I want to throw him there. Malik Beasley, this card's actually pretty nice as well. I would throw him into C tier, around Josh Jackson area. Malik Monk. They really did my boy Malik Monk dirty with this card too, because I believe it's a reward card. So I'm not mistaken, he has like 25 badges. Let me double check on that, because I'm not even kidding. I think he does. I'm going to go and rank Manu while this loads, because my internet decided to go out mid-record. Manu Ginobili, C. He's still really good. I would say he's better than a lot of these cards. I would still put him like around C tier area. That would be my general consensus. Maybe you do not agree. If you don't, that's totally acceptable. That's just kind of where I think he deserves to be. Yeah, they really gave my man Malik Monk 25 badges. That's so whack, dude. I mean, he has like 25 pretty solid badges, but he has like no defensive badges. Well, they're all on gold. I mean, I'll throw him over here, like D. He's not terrible. I like Malik Monk too. I hate they keep doing him like that. 6'3" is really small though. I'd throw him in F because of that. That sucks. I like this card, but that's how I feel. Manute Bull. Another controversial one. If you're on next gen, he's probably B tier. If you're on current, he's C. So I'm going to put him at the very top of C tier for that reason. He's a 7'7" 2 guard, yes, but he is like abysmal on current gen. Like he's so slow and sluggish. He's just not very good. He can boost a bit, but I don't know, man. You know, he's 7'7". For that reason, I'll put him like towards the bottom of B tier. I'm not a huge fan of this card on current. On next gen, he's super fun to use, but I think B tier makes sense for him though. Just the ugliest jump shot too, but it is actually pretty easy to green. Like regardless how ugly the jump shot actually is, green wise, it's not bad. Marquise Johnson, he's slightly better than Adrian Dantley. Yeah, he's like Lou Dort. He has shooting badges. He's up at like F or D. Matisse Thybulle. Yeah, C tier. Matisse is really good. Pure 3-and-D guy, but a good one at that. His jump shot is kind of weird though. A lot of people tell me that they can't green with it, and there's games where I just cannot green with this guy either. So I understand. Pantheon USA Jordan. Yeah, B tier. Yeah, I'd throw him like right up here. He's decent. Like it's Jordan, man. You know what you're getting at this point. GOAT Jordan. A. Yeah, I don't think he's S tier. I would use. I think Kobe, T-Mac, and Andre Karolinko are better than GOAT Jordan. Like GOAT Jordan isn't that much better, by the way, than the Invincible Jordan. And it's nothing to do with Jordan. It's just like when every card is a 99, you're basically trying to rank these cards based on just their jump shot and like their player build and stuff. There's not really any factors that you can look at like you can early in the year. And for that reason, I think these three guys are better. So it sucks, but GOAT Jordan is A tier. I'm a Bulls fan, bro. It hurts throwing Jordan in A tier. It's the greatest player of all time. Not LeBron. Not LeBron. Definitely not LeBron. Sorry. It's a tick. But I think A tier is appropriate for him. Mikal Bridges. I love this card. I don't care what anyone says. C tier. So good. Nasir Little. Pretty solid, but D tier by like Desmond Mason area. By the way, Stacey Augmon needs to drop because like he's not that much better than Desmond Mason, I don't think. Nick Anderson. Oh, I love this card. You guys know how I feel about Nick Anderson. C tier. It's good, especially for a free card. Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin's actually pretty nice. I would also throw him in like C tier. I like this card. I might be higher on him than I should be, but I like him. Oscar Robertson. He's small, but he's good. Like, let's be real. He is. Bradley Beal. Yeah, that's a good comparison. Pete Maravich, Gail Goodrich, right there. I mean, they look the same too, kind of. Maybe that's just all white people from the 70s, though. All white basketball players, I should say. Idols, Ray Allen. C. I would say C. If this is a current gen list, he's B tier. But I think if we're doing current and next gen, I would say... Yeah, I mean, he's not that much different than the enshrined Ray Allen. Yeah, Ray Allen's a beast. I'll throw him up in B tier for that reason. I think he's better than all these guys in C tier. Even Chris Mullin, I know it hurts for me to say that. All right, controversial one, number 2, Reggie Lewis. Yeah, dude, I think he's B. Reggie Lewis is nice, dude. I've been using him a lot, and for a free card, like, he's really, really good. Let me check exactly what his jump shot base is. I love it, personally. Yeah, jump shot 4. It's Dikembe Mutombo and George Mikan, but for whatever reason, same as like Donovan Mitchell, it's Dino's release. Are you guys really shocked that I love it? It's really nice on Reggie Lewis, though. And he's basically like a maxed out card in and of himself. Like, the only issues is that he doesn't have corner specialist, so you have to give it to him. And then also he only has gold Deadeye and gold flexible, which kind of sucks. The rest of the stuff, like, not really that big of a deal. But he's 6'7". I like Reggie Lewis. I always have. I'm not going to apologize for it. Deal with it. Rip Hamilton. Richard Hamilton's he's tough. He's kind of sluggish. Like, that's the only issue I have with him. He's got a good badge count, obviously. Base 40 is Jeremy Lin's release, which they made really sluggish this year, and for that reason, I would put him in C tier. Kind of by like Danny Green. They always do my boy Rip so dirty at the end of the year. He's always so much fun to use at the beginning of the year, and then the end of the year, his cards just aren't good. RJ Barrett. He's not the greatest, but he's still like C tier decent. Still got that Rudy base, like still a pretty good defender, all things considered. For whatever reason, he's like an inch shorter than his other card, which I think is right here. Yep. No question, RJ Barrett is B tier, and I think he's actually towards the top. This card's stupid. Like, this card's so good. Literally. He's just a Rudy clone or a Dissinger clone. That's all he is. A good one at that. Robert Reed. Oh, come on, bro. You know it's Robert Reed time. C tier. He's super tight. Taylor Horton Tucker. Towards the tippity top of D tier. By the way, Nutsinger Little and Stacey Augmon need to move down a bit. I don't like that. Throw Little like right by Denny. There we go. Terrence Ross. By like Josh Jackson, C tier. He's very good, decent. I don't know. Very like middle of the road, me, you know. Tom Van Arsdale. I mean, yeah, they're the same card. Literally, they're twins. They're the same card. Whatever. And Tony Allen, he's still better than Sumner and Dantley. So he's like worse Lou Dort. Like, that's basically what he is. I think Lou Dortz actually deserves to be up here higher, though. I like the card. It's just I can't. I'm trying to be unbiased, and unbiased take as he's in the trash department. Tony Snell. I want to put Tony Snell higher than D tier so bad, so I'm going to go ahead and try to justify this in some way, shape, or form. More than likely unsuccessfully, but I'm going to try. I just want you to know that. All right, 6'7" with a 6'11" wingspan. Great badge count. His stats are pretty whack. He's missing some important badges. Okay, what's the jumper again? Yeah, okay, never mind. Never mind, he's D tier. I really wanted this to be... I really wanted to put Tony Snell higher, but I can't. I can't justify it. I play with the card sometimes. He's fun, but yeah, he's not that good. Tyler Hero, where is... he's not quite as good as Duncan Robinson. I'd put him like by Manu. Tyler Hero's okay. Tyreek Evans. Tyreek's still nice. I'd C tier somewhere. Like right over here. He's towards the top, though. I really like this card still. And finally, Victor Oladipo, who I would actually put right by Bradley Beal and Oscar Robertson. That's kind of an appropriate place for him. No, I mean, he's closer to Karis LeVert. I would throw him. He's not bad at all. He's like very, very solid. He looks small, like on paper, but when you actually play with Victor Oladipo, his player build is a lot bigger than you'd think. So, I don't know. But that's the list, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments, as you always do. I'll be honest, I personally had a tough time doing the shooting guard tier list. It's a very well-balanced position with a lot of really awesome options. So it really depends on like play style and everything like that. You may do significantly better with a guy in B tier than a guy with in S tier. Like, if we're being honest, I play better with Clyde Drexler than I do all the guys in A tier that aren't Sean Elliott. Like, I play better with Clyde Drexler than I do with Kobe. That's not even an exaggeration. I do. Same, I'd be willing to say it's close with Darius Miles too. Like, that's kind of what I'm saying. And, you know, you're going to find that too, especially when you're like, why is this guy so low? I mean, for you, he's probably higher. Kobe and MJ thing, like, that one's really tough for me, but Kobe is more of a meta card, so I will put him in S tier over these guys. I'm almost considering dropping Kobe and putting Sean Elliott up there. Like, Sean Elliott's a beast, dude. No, I'll keep it the way it is. You know what? That's better. All right, as always, it has been your boy Cheap Ludes. I will see you guys in the next video. Check the description for all my stuff. If you want to subscribe to the second channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm just trying to get to 1,000 subscribers at some point. Not trying to be money hungry or anything. Like, I don't make very much money doing YouTube, guys. I'm poor, dog. But I did just get my car totaled, and like at a very inopportune time. So, you know, if you want to help me get the second channel to 1,000 subscribers, that would be great. I'll be back with small forward, power forward, and center over the next couple days. Maybe some more pack openings, a bunch of different stuff. So until the next one, peace.